Oh, hello, hello. We're here. Hi. Hi everybody. Hello, hello, hello. I'm gonna put on my noise canceling headphones because I had to turn my AC on even though it's a beautiful day outside. I'm gonna try my absolute best not to just spend this entire show complaining, but wow, am I in a bad mood. Happy Pride, everybody! I'm in a bad mood. Happy Pride. I hope how is everybody doing? Hope you're doing okay. Hope you're having a better day than me. I don't even know why I'm so upset. I think it's because I'm in my luteal phase. Where's the brat option? No brat option. You have to behave. Okay? You have to behave in the chat. Hi. Banana Brains and Eggy Jones and Rational Poet Jackie and YouTuber Grudge and Zach and VGA Archaeologist, VG Archaeologist. Hello, and hello in the website chat. That's what this is over here. If you've ever been like, what is this chat? It's not Twitch. It's my website, luxandra.net/live if you want to hang out over there, but I'm watching both chats. I can see you all. Yes, exactly, Evan. We're in the hashtag Grumpy Club today. Hello, Mercy. Hello, Nethercat. Hi, Jazz Dog. Hey, Cliff. We got Faulty. We got Viren. Wetware Angel. Hello. I think, yeah. That's the people from today. So hi, everybody. How is everybody's pride? Fuzzy Logic, hello, and Mabs, hi. You know, it's gonna be a very busy pride for me. Arden is out. She had her procedure today, and she's doing well. I'm not gonna get into details of what that is because that's her business, but she is doing well. In case anybody is, aware that she had a procedure today and is wondering how she's doing. So that's all going well. Good news all around. Lady Still Dreaming, hello. Poet Jackie, what's up? Yeah, so I was thinking about going to Pride this month, but I think I'm actually busy that weekend. I think, yeah, basically, like, I'm having a difficult time making time on Saturdays for stuff that I want to do. I am excited. I have at least one event that I can go to this month because it's even if I had to work that Saturday, it's earlier in the day. So I'm really in this place where I'm like, I'm ready to make some friends locally. You know, I've been here for a year and a half and I haven't really tried super hard to make friends and meet people. So I'm sitting here like, do I need to start actually like saying hey to people at the gym? Because I'm now at 5 days at the gym per week. So yeah, I'm like, do I need to start being like, hey, what's up to people and shit like that? It's like, yeah, I kind of think that I do. So that's something that I'm thinking about currently. Yes, many hearts and healing thoughts for Arden. She's taken the whole month off, so she's gonna have plenty of time to relax. I had something I was trying to coordinate with one of the other producers, the other producer today, and I was texting that person directly instead of using our producer chat because I'm like, I really don't want Arden to be receiving any notifications about any of this, like at all. Like, I just don't want to bother her. Guys, do you think this would be really funny? Okay, so
10 Crescens has donated $12. Cheer up, or don't, your choice.
thank you. Oh my god, that scared me a little bit. I was like, where's the voice coming from all of a sudden? Thank you so much, 10K. Cheer up or don't, your choice. Thank you for the $12 donation. Our goal for today is, if we get to $100, then I will go get the kitty cat and I'll make her be on camera. So if you guys want to see her, that's the method. But thank you so much for that. And yes, so here's the thing. I actually do kind of, in an imperative way, need to be in a better mood by the end of this show because I have couples therapy tonight. And I really don't want to come into it. And especially for the second week in a row, because last week I was like, yeah, I'm not in a good mood. I guess just the fucking 2 weeks of luteal phase is pretty irritating. So yeah, I'm just a curmudgeon. I'm just in a bad mood. I'm just feeling like things aren't going the way that I want them to. And I know that that's not entirely rational and that there are things that I could be doing to make myself feel better. So I'm working on that. Billy. Billy, thank you so much. You're so generous. Thank you very much. Please show us the kitty, and I hope you have a great day. Yes, I'm working on making my mood better. I turned on my air conditioner because it's so fucking hot in here. And apparently I set it at a temperature that was not the right temperature because it's turned off again. So I guess I'm just going to turn it on the highest possible setting and blast it until it's not fucking hot in here anymore. So I'll turn up my AC and I'll get the cat and we'll do that. Damn, so early in the show. We need a second thing then, but I'll be right back. I'll go do it. I'll do it. Okay, so interestingly, here's the thing. I don't know where she is right now. Um, I'll look again in a second, but for the moment, I'm just gonna say, okay, we'll deal with it in a minute. Like, she's not in any of her usual hangout spots, so I don't know where she's gone. But we'll figure it out. But thank you. So generous. Thank you so much. And I will go get her. I'm just gonna... She just ate. I just gave her wet food. This is usually the time of day that I give her wet food. So, yeah, you know, she eats and then she goes and like bathes and stuff like that. So I didn't expect to get the donations this early in the stream, but I will go get her in a moment. I just want to give her a little bit of time to kind of figure out, you know, herself after, you know, after she's eaten and everything. So just give me a minute and I'll do that. But let's see. Yeah, we live on kitty time. We all live on kitty time. New hiding/nap spot unlocked. Right, like she could be like under my bed and I'm not gonna go digging around underneath there to try to find her. So yeah, she's just gonna do her thing for a minute and then she'll be back and I'll go get her. Sorry. Sorry that we do not get immediacy on the kitty cat thing. Where the fuck is she? I don't know. Maybe she'll probably come in here too. She likes to come and hang out with me. She really like... Whether or not it was intentional for us to get a cat and have her become kind of my cat, it does sort of feel like that is what has occurred. But that's not anybody's fault. Like, I'm home all the time. And, so, like, she hangs out with me. Not literally all day, because I go places, and she also enjoys hanging out in my younger sibling's bedroom. Like, because, she likes hanging out on the bed, but not... like when it's sleeping time. I don't know. She's so weird. She's a weird little guy. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe she's hiding because it's stream time and she knows. She's not that smart. She's really not that smart. She's really dumb. You guys, I need to get a video of it. I want to get a video of it and post it on Patreon of like, if you're playing with her and if you're like getting her around her like head and neck area, she'll reach up with her back foot to like kick, but she is not very accurate with that. So your hand might be like down here, like you're getting her around her neck or her chest and she's kicking, but she's kicking herself in the head like this. And you're like, oh my God, you're so dumb. And sometimes she's doing it in a way where you're like, you know that she's going to scratch her own eyeball. She does have an injury in one of her eyes that we think that seems to be like healed and it's fine, but maybe she sees a little bit weird. Yeah, so, I don't know. She's a little adorable baby. My black cat blends into everything. I've gotten scared that he's escaped, but most of the time he's in my bedroom underneath something. True, exactly. Yes, may she recover quickly. Shoutouts to Arden. Much love to Arden. Okay, okay, so... No, I can't make that joke to you guys without disclosing details of what Arden is going through right now. Damn it. That's fucking annoying. Okay. I'll ask her if it's okay for me to share later. But yeah, she's just gotten done with her procedure today, so I'm just gonna let her chill and do her thing. I rarely, if ever, go to corporate pride events, debating whether I'm going to feel up for helping out with the ACT UP health fair here in New York. Last year, a few of us maskivists tabled to give out masks and tests at the health fair. Yeah, so I do on some level kind of want to go to Seattle Trans Pride, because at Seattle Trans Pride, I think it's like a masks required event. Now it is like a several hour drive. I don't remember how long it is. So that's kind of a bummer, but yeah, I don't know. I just don't know if I'll have time for it. I'm so fucking busy this month. What's up, Mephi? Hello. If you guys didn't know, Mephi and I are going to do an episode of Takis together this month. On the 18th is when that is scheduled. So if you like Mephi, or if you haven't seen any of her content, she makes content primarily, I think, on TikTok, but she also has been a guest with us on Takis before, and we are excited, I'm excited at least, to do a show with Mephi. Yeah. Pride's been going well. I met some folks who are newly out this year and had a good time being their elder. Also got invited to work with a crew on an upcoming 48-hour film project. That sounds fun. It's basically one of those, like, when you're getting toward the end of film school and you have to, like, make the whole movie in 48 hours, like writing, shooting, editing, all of it in 48 hours, right? That's so cool. I'm going to a convention in July and I'll get to be alone with my girlfriend for a week. Yes, that's exciting. I'm prepping class while listening now. I've been watching your saga, Viren, in the Discord of, like, you got a job for the summer, but now the website is acting up and it's only 5 days before classes start and everything. Yeah, that's got to be crazy. It's got to be a wild ride, but good to be employed. Always nice to be employed. I'm a big fan of the Dyke marches around because so many of them are masks required and have hit me up to stock on good quality masks. That's fucking cool. Yeah. It's one weekend from a genre pick, writing, shooting, showing, and awards all in 48 hours. That's so fun. Yay. Sometimes she hangs out under my desk, so I'm like, did she sneak in here somewhere? I don't think so. I promise I'll go get her in a moment. I'm sorry that she was not readily available. Nikki says, oh, and thank you, Billy, for becoming a member on YouTube. There's not, like, a huge benefit to doing that. Honestly, I don't do a lot with it, but thank you anyway. We have our Trans Pride in Nottingham, UK on June the 20th, so come along, people, if you can. Hell yeah. I get to keep all the materials from this time when I inevitably end up teaching this class again. Fuck yeah, at least they're letting you keep the stuff, yeah. It's like, what's going on with me? I'm officially enrolled in classes. That's kind of like the most exciting thing I have going on at the moment, that I've been kind of chipping away at looking at going back to college since, like, March. I think early March was the first time I was like, oh shit, actually, bing, light bulb moment. I was trained as an electrician and I do pretty well with a desk job. Like, I have currently a desk job. I do pretty well with that, and I could pursue electrical engineering. Bing, 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 light bulb moment. She walked in here. Hi, baby. Hey. How's my angel? Hey, pretty girl. Oh, yeah? Hey, kitty. Oh. Are you baby? Are you guys noticing how when she meows, she's like a goat? She goes, bah! Bah! Is that you? Is that you, Mini Mina? Hmm? You baby? Hmm? I've decided I'm going to start teaching her the thing that I taught Mitternacht, which is that if she kisses me, like if she rubs her face against my face, basically, then I'll put her down. Are you a good girl? Are you baby? You are. You're such a good baby. Oh, you're burpy because you just ate? Yeah. Okay, I'll put you down then. Thank you. Mwah. Even as I go to put her down. She's such a goofball. So yeah, it's really exciting. like all the college stuff, it's basically been, I didn't realize that there's so much work you have to do because when I was a senior in high school, I had no intentions of going to college, so I didn't do any of those things. But like the whole spring, what is spring semester is it's so busy. You're like, I have to apply for scholarships. There's a deadline. You have to sign up for the classes early enough that they're not full. And I actually got kind of, I feel like yanked around a little bit because like student orientations and all this shit that you have to do before they'll let you register for classes. But now I'm done. So there's like some stuff that's like, oh, that wasn't available. And I had to switch out and try a bunch of different classes. Like, okay, well, this course will tick a box on my requirements. This course will tick a box on my requirements. But there are overlapping times and all this kind of stuff. So all of the kind of logistics of that are like mostly done because I'm actually enrolled for summer and the fall. So I'm kind of set. One of the classes, there was like, I had to join a wait list and we'll just see if I get to take that one. And there's lots of stuff that you have to take at a specific time. Like, oh, this class is actually only this class that you have to take. I'm doing engineering, by the way. I don't know if that's been clear. I'm going in for like electrical engineering because I have experience as an electrician, and I've actually had a couple people recommend to me that I should try out like a design role or like a more like on the theory end of things or like control circuits and that kind of stuff. So that's kind of what I'm pursuing. And so the plan is basically just fucking go for it and see how it works. And I've managed to make it to where, I don't know if you guys remember me telling you this before, but the program that I was looking at is effectively like 19 credit hours per term or per semester or whatever they're called. Because I think that some of these programs, like when you go to a community college or something, that you're trying to get as many of your requirements out of the way as you can before you start on, like going to a proper 4-year, like you don't want to start at fucking Portland State University, and pay all of these for these expensive classes that you could take at a community college. You know what I mean? So they advertise at the community college like, oh, you can do this in 2 years. But by that, it means like, yeah, if you're doing like between 18 and 20 credit hours, then you can do it in 2 years. So I'm basically like taking classes over the summer because I want to take away some of that difficulty from my fall semester. And, just getting some shit out of the way. And yeah, I don't know. So I'm enthusiastic. I'm a little bit bummed out that like some other stuff in my personal life is like not salubrious to that. So, like, I don't know. I don't want to discuss it in detail. We'll fucking talk about it in therapy, but I just don't get to be 100% excited about it, which is a bummer because I was like, it's exciting and I'm trying to be excited about it, but yeah, I don't know. I have a friend who works in project management on the engineering side. I don't know how power lines are so interesting, but they absolutely love it. Yeah. I love the idea of, specifically renewable energy and everything, but I want to learn like kind of the robotics and control circuits aspect of it as well to an extent because automation is huge, right? Like, automating when power is feeding to a place versus power coming from a place. Like if you have a solar farm or anything. So then, if you have a plant that's like a traditional electrical plant, then that plant can reduce its output during the peak of if a solar array is going nearby. So there's all kinds of different like aspects to it that I'm interesting, but ultimately going into controls and circuits and doing the electrical and computer engineering stuff, it's just going to be like, there's going to be probably a lot of different jobs and probably a lot of possibilities. I want to eventually get my PE, my professional engineer license, which takes like 8 years. But a journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step, and that's kind of what we're doing. And I don't know that I would be doing it or be able to do it if it weren't for the fact that I qualify for Pell Grants. So we're going to see if that continues over the next 4 years of trying to do college stuff. But yeah, so I'm going to be full-time this summer, very soon. I'm doing, in a couple weeks or whatever, I'm going to get started. So yay. Yay. Oh, I also have to do so much math. I have to do so much math. I have to take... So the class that you would typically start with is differential calculus, but I have to take... Over the summer, I have to take a math class and a co-requisite. So, I have to be taking basically 2 math classes at the same time. And then in the fall term, I have to take another math class before I can take differential calculus. So I'm like, shit, I've got some catch up to do on the math. How is that going to fit in with the line? I'm basically just only taking classes that I can take during times that don't conflict with my job, basically. So I'm going to be busy as fuck is what's going on, right? There's going to be days where I work and then go to class for a couple hours after work. And that also is I'm still gonna continue fitting, I'm gonna continue fitting in the gym and all that kind of shit. So I'm gonna be just ridiculously busy for quite a while, which is good. I feel like I like that because right now I spend so much of my time fucking around and getting distracted by shit. And the more I absolutely have to do, the less I'm going to be able to just fuck around on Facebook and argue with idiot conservatives who live in my neighborhood. My nephew is going in for a degree in environmental engineering, and I don't know what that is, but I've seen his math classes, and all I will say is good luck. Yeah, environmental engineering, I believe, obviously, so engineering is really broad. There's lots of overlap. So, does a particular job technically qualify as electrical or computer engineering, or does it qualify as electrical or mechanical engineering, or is it mechanical or industrial engineering? There's a lot of overlap in these, but I think environmental engineering is typically discussing how to... I think it's stuff like how to clean up the environment or how to engineer things in a way that is sustainable. And they look into what materials are sustainable. So, how can we build this thing in a way that it will not only last a long time, but it won't do damage to the environment. But basically every type of engineering requires a shit ton of math. An absolute fuck ton of math, which you don't even necessarily have to use in your job, depending on what the job is. Justin Deconstruction Zone is an engineer, and he was saying that he ultimately didn't have to do a lot of math for his particular program that he did, and also he doesn't use a ton of math. Is there a gym on campus? I've looked into it, and I don't know if there is. I need to double check. But regardless, it doesn't not matter a lot. So the gym that I go to currently, not super far from the campus that I'm going to be studying at primarily. So it's not going to take a long time. The problem is that I spend an hour and a half at the gym, right? On my schedule, I block out, whenever I have something on my schedule, I block out all the time that it also takes to drive. So if I have to drive somewhere, I'm going to something about an hour away, coming here soon, and on my schedule, I blocked out the entire hour that it's going to take beforehand, and then the event itself is 2 hours, and then the hour that it's going to take. So I'm that's 4 hours blocked off because I'm not going to be home. And yeah, I just block off 2 hours for the gym every day because I drive to the gym, and traffic can vary quite a bit. And then I don't always spend as much time as I think I'm going to spend on my actual workout. I'm so sorry I'm burping because I just started drinking a soda. By the way, infinite soda glitch. If you get a non-caffeinated zero sugar soda, which this is A&W, but you can just drink as much of this as you want, basically. Like, because there's no sugar in it, so it won't give you like the high cholesterol problems. And there's no caffeine in this one, so you can also drink it whatever time of day you want. It's really good for the sweetness cravings. Good shit. Ben says, I took one environmental class. We learned about wastewater treatment and air circulation. Yeah, absolutely. So environmental science, especially environmental engineering, can be very, very broad topic. What's up, Emma? Hello. Yeah, maths. English is a good field to get into because there are still a lot of English courses that are part of general education. The only issue is that the field is somewhat saturated right now. But if that is your best field, I always say follow your passion. If you follow what you love, then money and jobs will follow. Yeah, basically. I'm just like, how can I improve my material conditions, right? I don't know if this actually is surprising or not for me to say, but I spend a huge amount of time essentially min-maxing, like, in my brain. I'll like spend a long time researching something and try to figure out what's the optimal way to do things. Like, and I'm not always great at executing, but I spend a lot of time trying to trying to optimize for stuff. And I feel like actually it might not be a good thing, that it might actually be part of my sort of maladaptive perfectionism. Like, if I'm perfect, then I get to have a stable life, effectively. Like, there's a lot that goes into what has developed that thought process, but I do kind of constantly have this feeling that if I make a single mistake, then everything that I consider stable in my life is just going to go away. So yeah, but I spend a huge amount of time being like, how do I do this optimally, and what's the best way? So if I'm working out, I'm trying to figure out what's the best way to work out and what's the correct amount of time to spend. And like, which exercises am I going to do and everything. I spend about an hour and a half to 2 hours at the gym, but I like to push to failure and take a 3 to 5 minute rest breaks. That's fair. I don't... Lux, do you also plan to sleep? We will find out. We'll find out if I plan to sleep. I don't actually work a huge number of hours, so there's the benefit. If I'm at the gym 2 hours every day, and I have class for like 3 hours every day, and I work for about 3 hours on the days that I work, it'll balance out. I'll figure it out. But optimizing, min-maxing, you'll love calculus. Well, good, thank you, perfect, that's great. But I'm definitely trying to allow myself to half-ass things sometimes. Like, I don't need to show up early, and I don't need to make sure every single box is ticked, and I'm not going to get in trouble if I don't put 110% of my effort into every single thing that I do. But yeah, as far as exercising, I don't exercise strictly to build muscle. Like, I can't do that because I'm dealing with some sort of vague dysautonomia. So my exercise is really just to, I'm just trying to improve my vascular function, basically. So I'm not allowed to push to failure and stuff. So I'm basically going for like 2 or 3 minute rests between my sets. And I'm also only doing 8 repetitions for every exercise that I do. So, but here's a benefit. Here's something that I thought of and I thought was funny to benefit. Because it kind of doesn't matter specifically what exercises I'm doing, because I'm just trying to build some amount of muscle to improve my blood flow and vascular function. Having strong leg muscles helps improve your vascular function, and exercising in general is just that's my goal. I'm doing cardio and strength training for the purpose of improving my baseline functionality, my ability to tolerate like heat, like I have heat intolerance. And so that means that I get to focus on glamour muscles, which is so fun, right? Like, I was just thinking, I'm doing these exercises that are not necessarily optimal for function in terms of, they're not all going to actually help me go about my daily life physically, right? Like, I'm not doing exercises that are necessarily going to make me stronger at doing any specific thing, but that's kind of awesome. So I'm like working on my shoulders right now, and I think I'm gonna add leg adduction, where you're pushing away. Like when you see people put a resistance band around their ankles and then kind of crab walk sideways, and do this. It's because they're working the muscles that push your legs open, basically, like that push your leg out to the side. And that's how you make your ass look good on the top of your ass. Because like most of the exercises that you do make the bottom and round part of your ass bigger. Like glute bridges and leg press make the bottom part of your ass bigger. But if you want it to be a nice full rounded shape, you have to work the top muscles, and you do leg adduction in order to get that. So I'm just having fun with it, honestly. Just I'm enjoying. Your body still treats a number of sugar substitutes as sugar, even if you don't get the calories. I don't think they do in terms of like the risks to my cardiovascular health. These drinks use a combination of aspartame and ACE-K, or ace-sulfame potassium. So I don't think that they cause the same problems in terms of like cardiovascular issues or whatever. But a lot of sugar substitutes are like other forms of like glucose or sucrose. I don't think I'll get a lot of sleep with when I'm dead being dead and all. True, exactly. Like, apparently I'm not the only person here who struggles with the idea of like min-maxing everything and trying to do things in the optimal way. Furiously scribbling notes, true. I wish we could exercise in our sleep. I want to be fit, but I also don't want to be conscious for what is required. Okay, so here's my formula that I'll share with everybody. If you're lifting weights, you need to be listening to some kind of music that makes you want to bump. And for me right now, that's fucking Slayer. 100% of the time when I'm weightlifting, I'm listening to Slayer. Like, oh my fucking God, can you stop? I'm so easily irritated today. I'm gonna be a fucking nightmare in therapy later. Are you done? Thanks. My fucking boom arm over here keeps wanting to like drift downwards. Slayer. So if you just need to be like, that's the energy that you need when you're weightlifting. When I'm doing cardio, that's not what I want. Listen to your favorite podcast or an audiobook or something when you're doing cardio. Because then you're like, the motion can become regular. My motion for cardio is this because I use the ergometer. I'm on the rowing machine. So you get into your rhythm and you get to the place where you're like at your steady state cardio, and then you can just listen to your audiobook or whatever. Which for me, that's like the perfect. So like my brain is engaged, and I'm also kind of trying to be connected to my mind-body connection. Oh my God. Mephi, I almost texted you about this yesterday. I've decided also I'm just going to start texting you all of my random exercise thoughts. But I've been very, 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 very gradually working up in my exercise routine, because I don't want to end up crashing out and having a bunch of autonomic dysfunction and like not be able to fucking survive. But so I've been doing the leg press machine, which you actually sit down. That's the other thing about the exercises I'm doing is like mostly I'm doing exercises that I can do while seated or lying down or something. So I have been doing leg press, which is a machine that you sit down in like basically a chair, and there's a big platform in front of you, and you pick up your feet and you put your feet on the platform and you set your weight on the side, and then you just push the chair. It slides backwards and you push with your legs, and it's basically like a squat kind of. And I just bumped up to 120 pounds with it. And the interesting thing is that if you're doing something like a leg press at a lower weight, mostly your legs can handle it. Like mostly your quads can handle the pushing motion, But then when you get it up to a larger number, you have to engage your ass more. Like, the ass muscles need to be more engaged in order to push like that. So yesterday was basically my first day of doing the leg presses after like a month or two that I've been doing this, right? The first day that I've been like, oh, my ass really needed to get involved here. And so my ass is really sore today. But then also I was on the ergometer, which is, it's like a rowing machine. It's got a little chair that you sit on and you slide back and forth on the chair. And there's a thing that you hold onto, like some handles. So you push away with your feet. Like you push away, you slide back, and then you're holding this thing and you pull it in toward your chest and you lean back a little bit and then you go forward and then your legs compress again. And that's the whole motion. You're going back and forth like this. So today I was doing the ergometer and I've finally kind of made this connection to my ass muscles. And so I was like really actually trying to activate my ass muscles for the ergometer today. And so tomorrow I'm supposed to do glute bridges and I think I'm going to want to kill myself. I think I made a mistake, but it's fine. I'm just going to be like a little sore booty for a few days or until next week or something. Metallica was my go-to back in the day. My mom really loved Metallica. And I don't really care about Metallica. I don't think it's not thrash, and what I want is thrash, which is why I like Slayer. I think Lux would enjoy working out to Sabaton, singing about pushing through the Nazi battle lines. Yeah, but here's the thing. I do not want lyrics. I've been listening to enough of the same Slayer songs that sometimes I know some of the words, but I'm very much actively like, I don't want to listen to words in my music. And that's most of the time. Although very funny, earlier I had a song stuck in my head as I was driving home and I like pulled up on my phone the song so that I could sing along to it. And then I just kind of had my earbuds in and I was just like, I'm going to let them. Metallica is thrash. They're just less extreme thrash. Okay. I guess I don't know about metal genres. Thank you for being here to educate me. I'm excited about that. But I'm listening to this song by an a cappella group called Home Free. I don't know if I've ever mentioned them. They do a lot of like country songs and stuff. But I'm singing this song, you know, like, I don't want to be a one-man band. I don't want to be a Rolling Stone alone. Like this very like kind of nice song. And my singing voice is fucked right now. So that sounded terrible probably. But then it went into Slayer. Because anytime I'm listening to music on my phone right now, I'm listening to Slayer. So it was basically like, I lay down the beat, you carry the tune. And it's like this very smooth song. And then it's like, and I was like, yeah, it was fun. Later, Meffy. Have a good night. My mom is obsessed with Home Free. They're nice. You know, it's pleasant. And I like the fact that they have like a bass singer that I can sing the bass parts when I feel like it. Ass muscles activate. Exactly. You know what is up. You know what's up. You got it. You got it. I'm not saying I refuse. By the way, I'm not saying I refuse to listen to any metal that has lyrics. Obviously, Slayer has lyrics, but I just don't care about the lyrics and I don't want to know them. Although, there is one Slayer song that I might want to learn the lyrics to. It's called Read Between the Lies. Someone just asked me recently, I was on Chewed Gum with Thinker not too long ago, and someone asked in the super chat section, like, what's my favorite anti-religious song? And I think I actually mentioned a Slayer song that doesn't even have any religious messaging, but Read Between the Lies is very fun in that way, where it's like, I mean, it's basically accusing religious leaders of being liars who are like trying to pacify people, I think. I'm not really like dialed in on what all the words to the song are, but that's the impression that I get when I'm kind of half paying attention to it and mostly just trying to push iron, you know? Nine Inch Nails' Head Like a Hole was the last one I remember. Haven't been to a gym in years now. Yes, exactly. What a great genre switch. It would probably be easy for you to slip into some death metal when you're used to Slayer. Okay. Who counts as death metal? Is that like Megadeth? That's the only name that I could possibly come up with right now. Megadeth. And I know that Katie Montgomery, who used to be one of our hosts on Takis, she has a metal band called like Demon Out or something, and I haven't checked them out, but I'm aware that they exist. Death metal kind of epitomizes not into it for the lyrics. Is death metal where they're like, oh, rah, 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 and you're like, I guess that's words. Megadeth is thrash. Okay, good. Yeah. Megadeth. Okay, we have two people. Viren and Quantum Chaos. What's up, Quantum? Has Polyphia been mentioned? I don't think so. Disturbed, though? Okay, so... Yeah. I don't actually know. Does Disturbed... They had, like, one popular song. I can't remember what it is, though. Death metal has a lot of similarities to thrash, but has harsh vocals. Nice. I feel like I'm perfectly content just listening to Slayer every time. Like, dude, listen, I could just put Raining Blood on a loop and probably get through my workout just fine. It's like one of my favorite. I know it's like obviously kind of cliche of a Slayer favorite song because that is like the popular one. It was in Guitar Hero 3 or whatever, which one I had when I was younger, and it was in the Invincible episode just recently, which was kind of my incentive, by the way, Viren, you telling me. I was like, wait, is this a Metallica? And you were like, no, that's Slayer. And I was like, bet, I'm going to listen to that song. And then it turns out I really like Slayer. But it's just like so good. Wait, there's another... I don't know. It changes tempo sometimes. Like Slayer, sometimes they just like randomly change tempo in the middle of the song and it keeps things interesting. Or they're like suddenly random, like the kick drum is going... And it's like, yeah. I don't know how else to describe that. Yes, Disturbed has exactly one popular song. No. Oh no. Emma says, I used to love Disturbed until I saw the singer signing an Israeli bomb. What? No, that's terrible. Man. Okay, apparently David Draymond, who I'm assuming is their front man, sucks so much. I get so conflicted listening to them nowadays. Fun Slayer fact, their vocalist is a practicing Catholic. I was wondering, I'm like, what is their political messaging? It's like, in one of their songs, they say something about the Aryan race, and I think that it's like accusing other people of subscribing to the idea of the Aryan race, but I'm not listening that closely. So I'm like, I don't know, am I listening to something that's very politically opposed to what I believe and I'm just like having fun so I'm not paying attention? That's crazy though. How could you be a practicing Catholic and still have a song called Read Between the Lies? I don't know. Rain in Blood, which features Raining Blood, is considered an all-time classic thrash album, to be frank. Okay, cool. Nice. Early Death, which is a band, would probably be an easy jam to slip into if harsh vocals slip into the background. I know that exact song, Angel of Death. Yeah, I was like, yeah, and Angel of Death comes up on my playlist constant. You know what's really funny? It's only been a few weeks that I've been listening to Slayer, and I only listen to Slayer on my leg days, so that's 2 days a week, for 2 hours. But because I've been consistently listening to them, YouTube, which is the platform I listen to music on, gave me a badge that was like, you're a top listener to Slayer. And I'm like, oh, okay. Did not take long to become a top listener of Slayer. So that's neat. That's fun. Just checking what's going on my phone. I'm already in a moderately better mood. So I'm glad that I'm in a moderately better mood because I have shit to do later that requires me to be in a good mood. Yes. Slayer is cool, people. Okay. The guitarist writes the anti-Christian lyrics. That's funny. I saw that, Billy. Yeah, the United States House of Representatives just voted to block any future bombing of Iran, a vote of 215 to 208. with a number of Republicans joining the largely Democratic vote to block the future bombing. And it passed in the Senate too already, right? So basically, you know, Trump's deployment into Iran right now is not considered an unconstitutional act of war because there is some kind of like loophole basically that's like, yeah, you can deploy troops and then within like 60 days or something, you either have to pull them out or Congress has to approve the action. And so if Congress doesn't approve the action, because that's the whole thing, right? The president cannot declare war on his own. He's not allowed to do that. So, I'm sorry, I got distracted by Quantum Chaos because he says Carrie, the guitarist of Slayer, just thinks it's funny to make Tom sing about God not existing. That's very funny. But anyway, yes, so the president is not supposed to be able to unilaterally start wars. You have to do that with congressional approval. And so that seems to be what's happening now. It seems that this is, you know, like the action that Congress is supposed to take to be like, hey, fucking stop it. Great question, Mercy. How does that actually stop Trump from doing anything? So it doesn't, to some extent. It doesn't stop him from doing anything, but it does create the conditions under which other mechanisms can kick into place to force him to stop, or creates the grounds for another impeachment or whatever. So that's kind of the area that we're in right now. I think his power is slipping. Well, I'm kind of surprised, honestly, that any Republicans jumped off of the train. Like, I'm surprised that Republicans joined the Democrats to force the Iran stuff to stop. And I'm curious what the specific circumstances around that are. Hi, Trinket. Oh, no. Byron says, it could always be worse. I used to listen to Iced Earth, and their main songwriter went to jail for January 6th. Yeah. Any Silly Goose fans here? Yes, it's a real band. You know, it's really funny because my partner calls me a goose all the time. It's like one of my nicknames is like Silly Goose or Goose. It's not like a common, it's not really so much my nickname so much as he says, you're a goose. It's not like he calls me Goose. I don't know why he hasn't started just calling me Goose. That would be so funny. I guess I'm more the nicknames person. Like Mina, my cat, she has so many nicknames now. You know, she's the bossy lady. She's the queen. Queen Mina. Mina the Queena. I've started calling her Mini Mina, like Mini Me, Mini Mina, which also just sometimes she's just Mini. In addition to being like pretty girl and good girl and all that kind of stuff, she's a baby. Is she my good girl? She is my good girl. Hi, baby. Yeah, you're good. She likes to hang out under my desk. What did someone say a minute ago? I was going to read your comment. Angel of Death is accused of being a pro-Holocaust song, but it's just about how fucked up it was. There are songs about religion written by the guitarist, and the songs about serial killers are written by the vocalist. There's a song that I fucking hate by Slayer, and I think it's called, like, Dead Face Skin. But it's like there's this weird, like, modulated voice that's made to sound like a child, and I fucking just think it's so goddamn annoying. What color? So Mina is a you can rewind the video, and I picked her up and showed her, but she's got long hair, and she has like white, and then big parts of her body are like a silver tabby, you know, with the stripes. So I don't know exactly what that's called, like piebald. She's like an American long hair piebald cat, something along those lines. She's very cute. She has the same thing that our cats before had, which is on her face. She's got this like pointed shape where it's like white below it, and then it's got the like tabby thing above it. She's very cute. Very, very good. Dead Skin Mask, which is funny because that song is a fan favorite. It's so fucking annoying. It's got that weird little kid voice in it, and it's just so fucking annoying. I think the song itself is fine aside from that. I'm like, why did you do this? It sounds like a song about a pedophile because of the kid and like the vocalizations that they're making the kid voice do. I just hate it so much. The video game I've been playing a ton of is called Mina the Hollower. The main character, Mina, is a mouse. Someone recommended that in a super chat not too long ago. I forgot to look it up. Angel of Death is about a Nazi dude who did human experiments in the concentration camps, and the song does not endorse him. Yeah, that's the impression that I got. Dead Skin Mask is about Ed Gein. Okay, so is it about a pedophile? Am I fucking correct? Who is that? He's American murderer and body snatcher. Okay, so he's not a pedophile, but he was a murderer. Okay. God, that song is so annoying. Did I join the show in time for Slayer chat? Yeah, we've been talking about Slayer for a bit now. I'm sorry if this is annoying or like not interesting to anybody. I've just been in a bad fucking mood all day, and now I am just talking about whatever comes to mind. I'm like, my ass is sore because I've been working out. And oh man, I made this observation in the Discord chat already, but like, okay, if you're trying to work out your shoulders by doing like lateral raises, which means like lifting weights to the side, what tends to happen is your trapezius muscle up here kicks in. So if I'm trying to work my shoulder, right? I'm trying to get like this action to round out my shoulders more. But this muscle right here, the trapezius, is a bigger, stronger muscle. So it kicks in and like your shoulder wants to shrug up. And so if you go with too much weight, you end up doing what are functionally like trap shrugs instead of lateral raises. So you have to keep your elbow down. And if you focus really hard on keeping not your elbow down, your shoulder down. If you focus really hard on keeping your shoulders down and back so you actually can isolate the deltoid, it makes it so much harder to lift the weight. So I'm like, now that I've kind of figured out the mind-muscle connection, I cannot do lateral raises with any weight. Just my arms, just trying to raise my arms on their own to the sides, I cannot do as many. And I started with like 5 pounds. And I can't even do 5 pounds, which is crazy. But, you know, I guess your arm weighs like, what, 15, 20 pounds on its own. So, there you go. Ed Gein is one of those characters that influenced a lot of fictional serial killers. Okay, okay. I've seen videos you've been in before, but the first time in this layer, if you will, is there a limit on how often to comment? I don't think that there's any kind of slow mode on any of my chats. I don't think... I did think about doing that on the YouTube chat. I considered putting slow mode on just to like create a slight incentive for people to join the memberships, but I haven't done that. So basically the only chat requirements here are if you're trying to chat on YouTube, you have to be subscribed for 1 minute. So that's like just trying to keep trolls from coming in and just spamming shit. At the very minimum, they have to sit there for 1 minute, and then I can make fun of them for that. So they come in and they say a bunch of transphobic stuff, and I say, you really sat there for 1 full minute and contemplated, how am I going to harass this person who's just chilling with their community right now? How am I going to make this person's day worse? For 60 seconds, you sat there and you went, So that's funny. Are you saying Slayer did a whole album about the life and death of Jeffrey Dahmer? Really? Oh, no. Sorry, you're saying the band... there's a band called Macabre, which did a whole album about Dahmer. Interesting. Wow. Today's culture has a perverse interest in serial killers. Why do we need Netflix shows dedicated to these low-life scumbags? My theory on why people like true crime is that it gives them a sense of control that, like, so first of all, I think that people like being exposed to scary things in a controlled environment. And that can be one of the ways that you master your anxiety, by being like, I'm going to experience fear in a controlled, safe situation and then not have to worry about it. Like, you know, raise my tolerance. But I also do think it gives people a feeling of control, that they, like, that they know what to avoid, or they know what to look for, or they know how they would escape. Like, I definitely, you know, I don't like listening to true crime. We tried listening to an episode of true crime while we were on our big long road trip recently, and I didn't know any of the details. I was just like, oh, Silence of the Lambs. So we started listening to a Simon Whistler episode about the Silence of the Lambs killer, or the guy that the movie was based off of. And, you know, you sit there and you go like, wait, why didn't they, like, if he had multiple, if he's got like multiple people shackled in his basement, why haven't they ganged up together and killed him already? You know what I mean? So I think that sometimes true crime gives people that sense of control, that they, you know, that, yeah, like I said, that they know what to do, and that they would do this, and, you know, I'm never going to be in that situation in the first place where the person got kidnapped from there, and like all this kind of shit. So other than that, I don't really get it. I don't really find it entertaining. I don't really find it fun. I don't find it titillating. The world is scary enough. Like, I personally know someone who was stabbed in the neck very recently, and he's going to be okay. But, like, he was a victim of a hate crime. And for being trans, or for being a public speaker about being trans, or something like that, like, targeted because of who he is, you know, got his face all beaten up and got stabbed in the neck, and, like, managed to get away and doesn't really remember how, and like, yeah. So I don't really need true crime when there's, like, real shit happening to people I know. A weird serial killer fun fact is that Ted Bundy worked for a suicide emergency hotline as a crisis counselor for the time. It's and Quantum Chaos adds, it's arguable that he saved more people than he killed. Wow, that's crazy. That's wild. Melanie says, I'm a psych major, which is a big part of why I'm interested in true crime and serial killers, but some people do take it too far. I can't stand most true crime podcasts, for example, because they are way too flippant about it. Right. Like, let's do a MeUndies advertisement in the middle of this podcast about, like, a real human being whose family is still mourning them. It's, like, a little gross. How's the duster jacket coming along? Great question. I haven't worked on it in a couple days. Let me I need to clean off my desk. There's so much shit over here. Do I have a stitch marker in here to save my spot? Where's my working stitch right now? What is going on? Okay, whatever. I guess I just pulled out an entire stitch, but whatever. That's fine. So if you guys didn't know, I'm working on a duster jacket. The person who designed this, like, this is kind of a vintage. Oh my god, what is it called? I want to say recipe. That's not right. A vintage pattern. This is kind of a vintage pattern. So I don't really understand some of the choices that were made. Like, the back was made in a way that it's, like, kind of doming. Like, do you see what I mean? It's, like, making a little dome, and I know how to avoid that, but I was, like, not trying to go off pattern and fuck it up. I've got the armholes now. And then eventually there will be sleeves. But yeah, so it's going to be a little... Oh my god, it's caught on my watch. Please stop. Oh my god, please stop. Why the fuck? I really don't deal well with stuff getting caught on things. I was just telling Arden about this, that, like, one of my biggest fears is being restrained or immobilized, and I don't like when stuff gets caught on things. It really freaks me out. But yeah, so this is what I've got so far on my duster. It's like a star kind of thing. It's like a little sun moment. When was the last time you saw a true crime show or podcast? I just listened to a true crime podcast episode on a road trip with my partner like 4 weeks ago. So not very long ago at all. But yeah. Isn't that neat? I have so much more to do on it. It's going to take forever. Kind of been taking a break. Ninja Turtle Duster? Yeah, I guess so. Later, Melanie. Wow, I used to work at the Salt Lake County Jail. They have Ted Bundy's fingerprints on display still. That's so weird. I don't know. Hi, Jess. Hello. Hello, hello. And hello, Lawrence. Hello. Thanks for hanging out. I have been in a bad mood all day. And after streaming for an hour, I'm feeling a little bit better. So that's kind of where we're at. We're just talking about random shit. But thanks for stopping by. Positive trans news. Saria, that's a great fucking name. I got my legal name changed this week. Yes. Hell yes. Hell yes. Yep. I had the option to take a psychology class, and I was like, I don't want to do that. I guess I might still later, because obviously, maybe not obviously, actually. When you're doing a bunch of classes at the community college so that you don't have to pay for the expensive version of those classes at the university, you front load kind of all of the intense math and engineering classes. So I might have more opportunity to take a psychology class later when I'm less kind of stuck. Yeah, I pronounced Saria correctly. Where's my fucking ocarina? I don't know. I can't remember how to play it anymore. But I have, I'm like, yeah, I could play you Saria's song right now. That you named yourself after Zelda, right? Yeah. Yeah, Luxander in a half shell, turtle power. When transphobes think you're assigned male and a trans woman and try to insult you, do you find it funny or embarrassing? I guess it's funny to a limited extent because they're like, I can always tell. And it's like, no, you fucking can't. It's entirely, if they know that someone is trans, then their ability to guess what you were born as is like, it's basically just dependent on how you present. But that's not even true, though, because I see transgender men being told that they'll never be a real woman. And they're like far in their transition, right? Like they've got the titties chopped off. Like they're even posting shirtless pictures where they can see the scars on them. And people are like, oh my God. So I just think that when people understand that someone is transgender, there's so much attention and visibility and spotlight on trans women that they maybe don't even understand the idea that someone could be assigned female and be trans. And then, of course, because I'm a feminine presenting person, if they know that I'm trans and they can hear my voice and they see that I look feminine, they're just kind of going to assume that I'm a trans woman. The main thing about that for me is that it's weird because in some ways I want to say like it feels safer, but that's not true per se. I am worried sometimes about people thinking I'm a trans woman in public because of all the attention that they get and everything. But it does create a little bit of a shield for me because obviously my dysphoria is that I don't want to be called a woman. So if people are like if people are being like, oh my God, you're never going to be a real woman, obviously I'm like, okay. So it creates this kind of interesting situation where my dysphoria is safer when people perceive me as a trans woman, but it does place me into a category of being affected by trans misogyny, which this is also why I think that those categories are fake and stupid, by the way. If you've never heard of the idea of like TME or TMA, that's trans misogyny exempt or trans misogyny affected. the trans misogyny exempt people that they're referring to are like transgender men and any non-binary people who was assigned female at birth. Like, basically, it's just a stupid, fucked up way of reducing us all down to our assigned gender at birth again. But I'm assigned female at birth, and I am trans misogyny affected because people constantly, like, they constantly are throwing trans misogyny at me. And if I get assaulted for using a women's bathroom, it's going to be because of trans misogyny. So, I don't know. Anyway. I'm like super cocky and I've been told you'll never be a real man. They're all just really bad at it. Oh my god, that's so funny. Wow. That's so weird. Trinket, how often are you like fully decked out in the clown makeup? Or is this a different Trinket? Or yeah, no, so on my website you're just Trinket, but on the YouTube you're Trinket the Clown, right? That's so interesting. This was not a transphobe in my case, but back when I was still boy moding, this one friend from my nerd hobbies assumed that I was FTM. He assumed I was some sort of trans, but wasn't sure what. Isn't that crazy? Like, people are like, I know that something is up with you, but I don't know what. Something is weird about you. Something is sussy-wussy, and I don't know whatty-whatty. Infinite soda glitch. I also don't. I say infinite soda glitch on a absolute maximum day. I'm only drinking 3 cans of soda, and it's usually more like 1 or 2. I just think it's cool that sugar-free soda kind of takes away all of the problems, quote unquote problems, associated with drinking soda. It's good stuff. Same Trinket. I used to wear the clown makeup every time I went out, and I've been lax about it since the pneumonia. That's fair. It's probably tiring to do a whole makeup routine. I'm not very good at it, so obviously it takes a million billion years when I'm doing it. Oh my gosh, what else is going on that I was thinking about talking about? I can't remember. Oh, I went to a makerspace recently, and that was fun, and I'm excited about potentially going there more often. A makerspace, if you guys don't know, is... Okay, so you know if you live in an apartment, or if you rent, or if you just have a really small living space, there are some things that you just kind of can't do, right? There's stuff that you don't have space for, or you're trying to be polite to your neighbors, and so you don't want to bother them. Oh my god, that burp, like, almost happened, and it didn't. That was so weird. So if you're like, oh, I really want to build a cabinet, or like, I want to build my own bookshelf or something, there's not really a place for you to do that in your apartment, right? You can't deal with the wood dust, and you can't run an extension cord all the way outside, and if you're out there doing woodwork in like, a neighborhood with a bunch of rentals, then people are going to be upset with you for using power tools outside and getting sawdust everywhere. And it might even be explicitly a violation of your lease or something. So a makerspace is a cooperative, effectively. It's a building where you can go and you pay like a monthly fee and you get access to their tools and their space. And some makerspaces... they do other things as well, like maybe a CNC machine or 3D printers or something along those lines. So, you know, my partner is... Excuse me. He's got all these tools. Oh my god, I'm so sorry about the burps. He's got all these tools, but no space to work because we rent. So there's all these projects, and he keeps bringing home fucking... cool pieces of wood that he could do something with, as though we have a garage, even though we completely fucking don't. Yeah, I'm not salty about it or anything. So yeah, it's just like it's going to be nice to have a makerspace where we can go and he can work on those projects and I don't have to worry about there being a bunch of shit in my house, or like it'll be good for him to actually be able to finish stuff. Um so yeah, we went to check out a makerspace and I'm really excited about the potential of getting to just have some place to go do things at. And like to make friends and stuff too. That's the big thing for me. My partner is more thinking along the lines of like I want to be able to finish projects that I have working on. But for me, I'm like, yeah, but I like want to meet. Like this is part of my I want to make friends thing. Like the other event that I'm going to this month is like to make friends. I'm going to meet some people and try to be like, hey, there's events that you can go to that are free in your community sometimes. And that's my goal is to make friends. Because I need people who live near me. How long has the stream been going? What did I miss? So we've only been going for about an hour because my computer decided to shit its pants when I was trying to set up the stream and get ready to go earlier. So it's only been about an hour and I'm not sure how much longer we're going to go. But, we're just chilling. We're hanging out. We're having a good time. Like a community center, but for makers. Yeah. I don't really know what community centers do. Like I've been to a baby shower or something at a community center, and I feel like there was like a basketball court and maybe like a really small quote unquote gym that mostly had a bunch of treadmills, and then like a big room where we went and set up. So it's like, yeah, I guess you can rent out a space in a community center for baby showers or like little events, little birthday parties and things of that nature. But yeah, the makerspace is like, yeah, you pay a fee and then you can use the space, and some of them have like a storage locker. You can rent a storage locker as well. But yeah, I kind of figured that would be a good way to meet people who are more collectivist in their philosophical approach to things. I was basically like, man, what would be a way to meet a bunch of queer communists without actually having to join a queer group or a communist group? I say communist loosely. I'm just kind of being funny. But, like, I've also been looking into the Democratic Socialists of America. I was thinking about joining my local DSA chapter, and then I realized if I'm trying to make friends, that's probably not the best way to do it. And also, like, I am kind of not at all interested in helping campaigns. Like, oh, we're gonna canvass and we're gonna campaign. I'm like, that actually sounds fucking terrible. So I'm leaning more on this, like, building on my hobbies and that type of stuff. You're the best host on the Transatlantic Show, IMO. Listen, thank you very much. That's very sweet of you. I have much love in my heart for my fellow co-hosts, so I don't want to be like, obviously, but thank you very much. I appreciate it. I do go on stage later tonight, and I'm thinking of doing the clown makeup if I have the energy. Yeah, absolutely. If it makes you feel better, Later, Quantum Chaos. Have a good night. Be well. Friday Night Magic has a few queer communists without being a queer communist group. By magic, do you mean like Magic the Gathering? Or magic like prestidigitation? Or... because I do have some Magic the Gathering cards. I think that they're all out of date, though. Even though like, my most recent Magic the Gathering purchases were like several years ago, but because of the constant power creep, I don't know if they're really relevant. Could you start a commies with hobbies community? Girl, sorry, I just mean girl, like dude. I don't have the capacity or the energy to start a group. And also, I think that we have a tendency to do that, especially when it's like activist spaces and stuff. There's this impulse to be like, let's build everything from the ground up and start a new group. But realistically, there's probably already groups that you could join. And so, yeah, so that's what I'm leaning toward is, existing hobby groups that I'm joining, or existing identity oriented groups that I'm joining In my city, you meet queer communists by hanging out in the art community. Yeah, sure. That makes sense. Have you ever played Silent Hill? No. No, I've only seen the movies. Movies? Or have I only seen the first movie? I think I watched someone else play Silent Hill when I was younger, but I don't really remember any details. Aside from the creepy fucking nurses, dude. God, I remember those clearly. I find I have made friends while organizing, but yeah, if you feel more like leaning into hobbies, then do that for sure. Yeah, and it's like a social group, and you're like joining, you're like with people who share the same values, so like I get it, but it's like the work that you do together in the DSA or in the Communist Party or in like any political campaign, it just like doesn't sound like the type of stuff that I want to do. And also, like, politics is my job, so I'm trying to find something that isn't me doing politics 100% of the time, right? This is part of why I'm in such a salty fucking mood this week, is because I have been repeatedly falling into the trap of trying to talk some sense into my, like, Republicans who live in my neighborhood or who live in the cities near where I live. Like, people are just like, and like, okay, my thought process behind joining groups where conservatives were posting conservative things was, I'm going to try to engender some class consciousness here. I'm going to try to show that trans and queer people are members of the community who care about bettering the community and who want to focus on policies that make our lives better, right? And I think that that's just like really the wrong way to do it. You know, doing it on Facebook where people feel entitled to say whatever fucked up shit comes to their mind, and you know that they wouldn't say that shit outside of that context. Like, I don't know. I'm just finding myself really bummed out about, like, so I posted something in one of these groups that was one of those, like, we're not proud of who we have sex with. We're proud of surviving a world that wants to kill us. And I posted one of those because I keep seeing a bunch of people in the group being like, you know, oh, it would be so... Obviously, if I talked for an entire month about how much I love heterosexual sex, you would think that I was creepy and you would question me being around children. And it's like, well, because your slur almost dropped. Yeah, so, like, it's just crazy that in posting that and people in the comments being like, oh, you're being so dramatic. No one's trying to erase or kill trans people. And I'm like, actually, I know someone who was stabbed in the neck 2 weeks ago for being trans. And how many people in the group are responding to that by being like, LOL, cool story, bro? I'm like, oh, I didn't realize how upsetting that was going to be. Because I didn't expect that people would just accuse me of being a fucking liar about knowing someone who is a victim of a violent hate crime and who barely escaped. And who, like, now has to do 8 weeks of rehabilitation and had to have emergency surgery. So, yeah, I think I'm coming to the conclusion that it's not just about convincing other people. And I've always held to that belief. I've always held to the belief that it's not just about convincing other people. It's also about the people who aren't commenting and the people on the sidelines and the people, and, like, in emboldening the people who agree with you already and that kind of thing too. But I kind of just don't think that doing it on the internet in a faceless way, in the sense that, like, you know, obviously I'm going to keep doing my work with the line because we can have real conversations. I can hear people, they can see my face. And, like, I would be willing to have those discussions with people that I see in the real world in, you know, hobby groups or whatever. Like, yeah, if I join a hobby group and there's somebody in there talking shit about trans people, I think it would be way more effective if I would be, like, present in the room. Like, hey, like, I'm trans and this is not fair, right? Like, it doesn't, you're portraying all trans people as all being this way or all doing this and that and the other. So I just think that it would be, I think, honestly, I just think that I'm wasting a huge amount of my time by bothering to try to engender class consciousness. I'm, like, sharing stuff about, you know, healthcare and health insurance and other issues that are pertinent to Oregon specifically and stuff. And it's just, yeah, people are just really fucking awful. They're just, like, bad people, I think. Like, there's a lot of people who are just straight up bad people and have no intentions of changing that. They think that, like, they want you, by that I mean me, they want us to die. They will say that out loud. And it's like, oh, okay. And then that you're just like, oh, we can't live in a world together. Like, you do actually want me to be dead. Because here's the other thing, too. We've been having these discussions where folks are... okay, like, so the Supreme Court, I guess, has just declared that businesses are allowed to refuse service to LGBTQ customers, which is crazy. Like, it was completely fabricated, fake. It was a fake website maker, and so they just fabricated this situation to push it to the Supreme Court. And I was, like, trying to explain to people, I'm like, okay, how does this work? If you can deny service to LGBTQ customers... how are we supposed to function? How are we supposed to exist in the world? Like, let's say you live in rural Oregon or Idaho and you're visibly trans, or you have the gay voice, or you keep a picture of your husband in your wallet or something. And then you try to, I don't know, if you live in a small town that doesn't have a Walmart, how are you supposed to buy groceries if the person who works there says that they have a religious objection and they don't want to serve you? Or a fucking bank. And please, listen. Thank you, Billy. I'm going to get to that in a second. Correct me if I'm wrong, you guys. But banks are private entities. Like, it's like a business. Like, I mean, like, credit unions are run a little bit differently than banks. But, like, a bank is a private business. And so if the bank doesn't have legal requirements to not discriminate on the basis of gender identity or gender identity or sexual orientation is what I'm trying to say. Correct me if I'm wrong, but if this was the law of the land that all businesses are allowed to refuse LGBTQ customers, could it not be the case that a gay person could be denied a business loan or a home loan or a bank account, period, if enough of the people in your community are, like, homophobic Christians who don't want you to have access to services? Like, and this is something somebody said to me in the comments. They were like, start your own business. And I'm like, how? If the bank can deny me a fucking business loan, dude. Like, and people keep being in the comments like, stop making it your whole identity, then the problem is solved. And I'm like, okay, but there are people who are just visibly trans. Like, again, there are people who have the gay voice, and there are people who are visibly trans, or like, there's people who are visibly queer, and it's not about, like, you don't even just say I'm gay or I'm trans. It's just a visible thing that happens. And I'm like, so what you're basically saying is that you think that people should not be, like, what? So, like, a person who has gay voice or, like, gay accent, which, like, a whole bunch of different languages have the same kind of type of gay accent thing, or at least there is a gay accent, even if it's not the same across languages. So I'm like, okay, you want us to literally change our accent and the basic way that we speak in order to access services in our communities? Like, how the fuck does that work? And I'm just basically trying to explain to people, everybody was trying to say to me, nobody's trying to erase gay people. And I'm like, but you are, though. What you're saying is that you want it to be completely impossible to tell that someone is gay or trans in public. And that's not possible for a lot of people. And it's also not fair. And it's, like, crazy that people are genuinely like, yeah, I should not ever know that somebody is gay or trans in public. How? Legitimately, how does that work? So obviously, I'm getting annoyed with that whole conversation and how fucking stupid people are. And how fucking rude people are about it too, Anyway, thank you so much, Billy, for the donation a second ago. Let me read it. Billy with the $50 dono says, I have found it productive to have one-on-one conversations with people in a calm manner. It requires me to bite my tongue a lot when they express really shitty opinions, but taking the time to unwind them from that has really helped them. Yeah, I agree. I think that doing it in a text-based format is the worst possible format that you could try to change people's opinions, especially because then there's a whole mob of like silent people on the sidelines who are laugh reacting at your comments and heart reacting on the bigoted comments and calling you retarded and stuff. Like that's just in groups where the number one rule is to be polite to one another. I get called retarded constantly. It's crazy, actually. And then I try to be super polite because I don't want to get kicked out of these groups that are like run by conservatives or whatever. So yeah, I don't know. It's just been really stupid lately. But I do think, yeah, the conversations that we have on TACUS, etc., those seem to be useful. We seem to be successfully deconstructing people and getting the message out to more folks and everything. And that feels productive in a way that talking to people through text-based medium does not feel productive. And I think probably the most effective thing to do is, and I've been saying this for a while, but to be a proactive and productive member of your community. Let your neighbors know like that you are helpful and you are nice, and then they find out that you're trans after you've or queer or whatever, after you've already demonstrated that you're an upstanding member of your neighborhood, city, community, etc. And then that makes them kind of rethink their position. But I don't know. It's like we're constantly trying to refine our approach and our arguments. And we have people call in and critique our approach and our arguments, like people who agree with us, who are just like, you're doing it wrong. So I'm constantly trying to think of like, what's the best way to do things. And I think I just need to completely abandon having conversations. Like I might still post, things that are meant to engender class consciousness in the groups that I'm in, but I don't know if I'm just going to stop looking at the comments. Like post something, immediately turn off notifications so that I can't see it. Legitimately, yes, exactly. Yeah, Jackie says, people say, I don't hate you. I just don't want to see your presence. Like, I don't hate you. I just want to be able to pretend that you don't exist. I don't know. It's so strange. My own family has endlessly harassed my non-binary sibling because they isn't grammatically correct. God, people are so stupid. I think really what it comes down to is folks who are bigoted will say anything to justify their bigotry, Like they'll say, you're forcing it on kids or whatever, and I'll be like, yeah, well, the thing is that I've been trans since I was a kid, and it wasn't in the schools back then, and I didn't know any trans people back then, and now I'm in my 30s and I'm still trans. And then they just don't respond, They just stop acknowledging you, or they laugh react, or they tell you you're a liar or whatever. The woke scold calling in back-to-back last night was nuts. Yeah, did that continue with Jimmy and Ari, or was it just chewed gum? God, people are so fucking misogynistic toward Alyssa and Taylor, and it's so hard sometimes to restrain myself. And like I recognize that even that, like my impulse to interrupt as the producer and call someone out or mute them myself, like those are all also sort of microaggression forms of misogyny. And I have to be like, no, they can handle it. They don't need me to white savior them or white knight them and come in and be like, how dare you be misogynistic toward. I mean, I feel like protective, and I like Alyssa and Taylor a lot. But yeah, I try not to be like, let me tell off this person because they're being misogynistic. Although I guess it's not just Alyssa and Taylor, because Legally Mod this week on Skep Talk posted a super chat that was like, it was like, Forrest is a sad, strange man. And I was like, that's really mean. That's not nice. Why are you being mean? But okay, notice what's in common here. Forrest, Alyssa, Taylor, the coworkers I see the most often. Like those are the people I see the most often. So I'm like, I feel the most friendly toward them because I see Forrest pretty much at least once a week. Sometimes it's twice a week, and sometimes it's for 8 hours. And I see Alyssa and Taylor every week, pretty much, unless there's something going on and they're busy or something. But yeah. That is kind of funny. Like those people who I see the most regularly that I'm like, I feel the most friendly and close to. I think the tone policing and stuff did continue for a couple of calls after we switched to the other show. Okay. I'm just not interested. Like, I'm just not interested in having those conversations. And it didn't take very many conversations for me to be like, I'm tired of talking to folks who are like, well, you shouldn't argue this way or you shouldn't say that. Like, I don't care what you think. I said that, which is like a really rude thing to say. It was like, I don't care what you think. I've been doing this for years and I'm going to do different things on different days. And I'm not going to be a perfect activist every single time. And I'm not going to pretend to try to be a perfect activist every single time. Sometimes I'm just going to immediately start calling someone stupid because I've already talked to them 11 times. Dylan. By the way, Dylan got banned. If you guys know Dylan, who has repeatedly done the whole, like, well, why don't you sell me your soul? And that's a gotcha that he pulls, because if you say, no, I won't sell you my soul, then he'll be like, oh, that's proof that you believe in what I believe. And if you say, yeah, I'll sell you my soul, whatever, he's like, oh, that's proof that you believe what I believe. So I finally just banned him. I was doing call screening. I can't remember if it was Monday or Tuesday this week, but I was call screening, and I'm not good at recognizing white men's voices. I mean, I guess I'm not really good with voices in general unless I've been exposed to them a few times, but I got most of the way through screening Dylan, and then I realized who it was. Like, obviously, there's plenty of white boys named Dylan who aren't fucking annoying, but after, like, I basically just cussed him out last week on Takis, and then he tried to call in this week, and I got all the way done with screening him. Yes, Dylan the Devil, exactly. I got all the way done with screening him, and I was like, okay, I'll go ahead and put you in the queue. And I just banned him instead of putting him in the queue. So that was funny. I'm sorry that it didn't happen on air. Like, I'm sorry that you guys didn't get to hear it or see it. But I'm just like, I'm just gonna take care of this problem, and then we don't have to deal with him ever again. Won't that be fun? Oh, yeah, let me add, sorry, that $50 donation. That brings us up to 162 for today. 162, and on the next one I will flex my muscles, because I am now working on my upper body in a way that actually might make a difference to how I look. Although I'm not specifically training biceps, and it's always the biceps that I show off. Hey, Minnie. You good girl? You look like a weirdo. She's a weirdo. Okay, let me get my chat back. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. Yeah, bold of you to assume I have a soul, Dylan. It so sucks that we don't have any ginger hosts, because that would be so funny if they had had the opportunity to talk to him and they're like, yeah, but I'm a redhead and I don't have a soul. Oh, we do. We have a ginger. Now it's Jack. We do. We've got the ginger representation. Riverboat Jack. What about the screaming demon, Jimmy Snow? That fucking... It's so funny. And I feel bad. I guess it's like I feel a little bit bad for thinking that the scream is so funny. Jimmy got in a car accident recently. He's okay. But he released... He put out the audio and added it to his soundboard. The, like, scream that he did when he like... There was a truck that pulled out in front of him illegally and he hit that truck. And... yeah, it's so funny. It sounds fake. Like, it sounds not real. And I think that's part of what makes it so funny. It sounds like a Wilhelm scream, kind of. I think Forrest likes being considered a strange little fella. It's the fact that specifically, Billy, she said a sad, strange man. And I'm like, that's mean. Like, that's so demeaning to be like, you're a sad, strange little guy. Like, I don't know. And, like, Legally Mod is also one of those chat members who we frequently are like, oh, she's, like, oversharing her sex life and stuff in the chat. So it's, like, I'm already primed to feel like Legally Mod is a little bit of, like, a difficult person in the chat, because she, you know, obviously she does super chats and stuff, and that's great, but also she, like, posts really inappropriate things in the chat, but not like overtly inappropriate in a way that is like easy to censor. And then for her to be like, Forrest is a sad, strange little man, I'm like, that's not nice. That's not a good thing. And I was like tempted not to put the super chat up. What do you want? What are we doing, baby? She wants my attention right now. I think Forrest is like one of the genuinely most upbeat and whimsical people I've ever listened to. Yeah. Yeah. He's chill. He's cool. He's got shit that he deals with off stream. He just is like a pretty positive guy. But I also think that, and this is like a I care about you critique, but he kind of burns the candle at both ends sometimes, and I'm like, I wish you would take a break. But much like myself, almost every single time the question of, hey, would you like to work more comes up, the answer is money mean eating a lot now, yes, please. So it's like anytime you ask for us to work, unless he literally physically can't, he's like, yes, I will. One of my light bulbs is going out in my lamp. It just keeps flashing. If it was Sad, Strange Little Man, could it have been a Toy Story reference? Maybe. What do you want, Mina? She's so strange. I loved the other day when Jimmy was fucking with the caller and kept playing his Scream to interrupt them. Yeah, that was Thursday last week. You know what's really funny and shows that I'm correct and you should always listen to me? We had our production meeting on Wednesday last week because we basically, the last Wednesday of every month, we make our schedule for the following month and we talk about anything we need to talk about. And I was like, Jimmy, are you doing the show with me tomorrow? Because you shouldn't. And he was like, yeah, I'm going to be fine. I'm going to do it. And then we did the show. And afterwards he was like, oh no, I've crashed hard now. And he ended up taking off several days. And I was like, sorry, but I told you so. Like, I told you not to do the show. So I'm like a little bit vindicated. I'm like, you're my friend and I care about you and I want you to take it easy. And he didn't. And then he crashed. And I'm like, no wonder. But he's doing okay. He's feeling better now. He's kind of getting back into it. I don't know how he finds the time for anything. I don't know either, girl. But that's about to be me. Like, I'm about to be a very, very busy person. So I don't know why Jimmy is doing these shows. He needs to rest. I think part of it is that we're just in a growth phase and Jimmy needs to be present for a lot of the growth phase. Like, we don't want to reduce the amount of content we're putting out. We want to at least maintain. And we only just, in the past month or two, made an increase in content. So we're trying to at least maintain that level of content because otherwise we're slipping back. We're trying to use the fact that we're running into election year to build momentum for the channel and to make more political change and influence more people and get involved in the elections and stuff. So, yeah, I mean, yeah, welcome back to Luxander Knows It All. It's true. I'm a know-it-all and you should listen to me. Forrest often questions whether he might have ADHD. I'm an ADHDer myself, and I often watch the stream at 2 times speed. Watch Forrest fidget at 2 times speed while the other host is speaking. Hyperactivity confirmed. Yeah, like what I'm doing right now with just like my chair rotating back and forth. I actually watched a 3-hour video that Forrest made last week about some Christian that he had a debate with a couple of years ago spent 2 years making an entire movie that is about Forrest. If you guys haven't seen the video that Forrest put out last week, the Reacteria, it's so crazy. Because it is, like, they basically made the main character of the movie, it's Forrest. Like, it's supposed to depict the events leading up to and surrounding their debate, the debate that the Christian had with Forrest a couple years ago. And it's very cringe and terrible. But there was a part where he's posting clips from the actual original debate with the Christian guy. And there were some parts that he kind of sped up because he would like ask a question or make a statement. And then the Christian guy would just sit there. And you can see Forrest kind of like his eyebrows go up. Like, what do you think about that? Like, I'm waiting for a response. And it's sped up a little bit. And so you can see Forrest like just rotating really fast. I love when people calling in are like, well, maybe I would have listened if you were less mean, because the whole point of that as a criticism is not wanting to put the ego into defensive mode. Yeah, it's tough to, and like I try not to be mean until the person has elicited that response. Like I try to start off fair, but I think your pronouns are it-its. Are you okay with other non-binary pronouns? I'm kind of coming off of the it-its a little bit. It's like I'm more of a they/it now. Like I'm just coming off of it a little bit because I like it/its pronouns because they're kind of punk rock and confrontational, but I don't want my fundamental existence to be confrontational. So I'm kind of like just easing off of it a little bit. So it's like they or it, whatever you want. Those both make me happy. Are your eyes blue or green? I have central heterochromia. And are you a producer on Chewed Gum? Yes. Every Chewed Gum since September, I have been the producer for. So yeah, what are you doing, baby girl? Hi. She's being very silly. What do you want? During the live event in Tulsa, he said that Amber once held his leg in place for a little bit and it pained him deep, deep inside. Yeah, he's got hyperactivity, for sure. Imagine pissing someone off so bad in a cordial debate that they make a dramatic retelling of the whole thing as a movie. Listen, I guess this is a little bit of a spoiler if you haven't watched the Reacteria video, but oh, yeah. Thank you, Lawrence. 1 second, I'm going to finish this thought and then read your thing. Forrest said to the guy whose name I don't know, sorry, in their very, very polite debate that they had a couple years ago, Forrest said that he would not want to go to heaven because heaven would be like a terrible place for him from his perspective. He's like, I wouldn't want to be there. It sounds bad. And that bothered the Christian guy so much that it came up like multiple times in the movie that was made. Like he's clearly really stuck on like, how could anyone think that heaven would not be the best place to be? Oh my gosh, excuse me. Anyway, thank you so much. Ah! Lawrence says, take my money. I'm in a good mood. A viewer who owns a bookstore just got a treasure trove from a retired pastor, so I'm very excited to get those old books. Oh my gosh, that does sound fun. Ooh. I love the smell of old books, you know? Like, you pull out the book and then you kind of, like, rifle the pages, and you get that, like, waft of just, like, a really pleasant, earthy smell. So good. But thank you so much for donating. That's very kind of you. Looks like you're losing your edge, Lux. I know. Something that I said in therapy recently was that I feel like I'm a hard bitch and I have to be a hard bitch. So like when I'm walking around, and this is something that I think about a lot actually because I've just tried to like finish raising someone, but like to project confidence, to project this vibe of like I'm not aggressive, but don't fuck with me. Do you know what I mean? So that's kind of I feel like I kind of have to embody like a general like I don't care and don't fuck with me energy that makes me feel like I don't get to be soft. Like, so I guess I'm trying to like connect with that a little bit better, that I want to be vulnerable, or I want to have spaces where I'm soft, and I want to be in spaces where relaxation and just existing is okay, and I don't have to constantly be like ready for an argument or ready to defend something. So yeah, but that sucks. You know what I mean? That you're like I have to be an asshole basically, or like I have to project the energy that if you tried to step up and hurt me that I would fucking hurt you back worse, is kind of what I mean. Like, you know, like if somebody tried to like assault me, that I'm willing to hurt you way worse than what you're trying to do to me. Obviously within legal limits and everything. Oregon is a stand your ground state. There's limitations around the use of deadly force and everything. I'm aware of the limitations of that, but I'm just saying the energy that you have to project, being like, no, don't bother me. Like, relatively few people have ever bothered me about wearing a mask, for example. Like I wear a fitted N95 every time I'm out in public. And I think part of the reason why people don't bother me is because I am so confident. When I'm out and about by myself outside of work, I purposely have a resting bitch face. True. Yeah, absolutely. I relate to that so hard. It's so much work, and I've been like that my whole life. It's not restful. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say it's not particularly restful to feel like that. And like there's some stuff that makes me feel like that when I'm at home. And it just is like not good. So that's part of why I'm like, I need to make more friends. I need to have more spaces where people just like me and they're not expecting shit from me, and I'm not like worried about making mistakes every 5 seconds. Honey badger vibes, exactly. I feel for y'all on these shows for all that. I hold a lot of respect for y'all for constantly meeting antagonists on the shows. Yeah. It's like, that's what I'm here for. That's the explicit purpose of the space. And I think I just need to compartmentalize that more, you know? So I'm not on, I need to stop being on Facebook arguing with people. I need to only, like, the only time I'm arguing with someone is when I am on the show, I think is probably what needs to happen. I think the hair gives off don't get on my bad side energy, and I'm low-key jealous. Yeah, most of the time, if I'm out in public, my hair is back. So you can see the double, shaved. And of course, I just shaved it, so it's like, this is the most stark, and sometimes I'll go like a couple months and it'll get longer and be a little bit less visually contrasting. But yeah, it wouldn't surprise me to some extent if this is just like not a friendly haircut to people unless they're queer. I don't know. Facebook arguing is my vice too. I know, I need to get, I have to get, I can't quit you. Like, I'm having a Brokeback Mountain. It's like, it's so hard to quit you. Hedonista says, yep, resting bitch face, shades, and a head on a swivel. Yep. I don't do head on a swivel. For the most part, I ignore people around me. So I'm not like, it's not like I'm looking around and I'm aware. It's more like I am so confident that I do not need to be head on a swivel aware of my surroundings. Does that make any sense? Are you going to dye your hair again? I don't know. I've been kind of thinking about doing one of those sort of hair dye masks where like you put it on and it only lasts for about a week and it kind of just washes out. Especially because the way that I'm doing my hair routine, well, my hair routine is kind of constantly in a state of flux because I haven't figured out the correct routine, but I already only wash my hair like twice a week. So if I was thinking like if I did one of those hair masks and like dyed it purple or something and it's temporary and I don't have to bleach my hair. I don't know. It's just more work. And I don't like doing work. You know? That's not true. Obviously, I like doing work. Everybody likes doing work when it's fulfilling. Silly Luxander, that's not how mohawks work. I know. I gotta get some of those, what are they called? What were they called back in the day? Liberty spikes? When the punks would have the mohawks that were like, they would take this they would have like multiple spikes like this. You know? Do some Liberty spikes. I'm hyper aware without having to literally swivel my head. Yeah. It's also pretty easy to get a concealed carry. Yes. Yes. I know. I have negative money right now because I'm recovering from taxes and having to pay to get my brakes fixed and everything on my car. I would like to, I have a Glock 19, but I would like a smaller sidearm for concealed carry. Like, it's just too big. Like, the Glock 19 is just too big for me to be conceal carrying, so I want something smaller, but it's like, yeah, the next time I have $600, I'll go ahead and do that. Speaking of punk, what kind of music are you into? Most of the time I don't like listening to music. I find it very distracting, and it's emotionally evocative in a way that can be kind of destructive to my entire day. But recently I've been listening to Slayer at the gym. We were talking about it a bunch earlier, so I'm not going to get back into it right now, but kind of my main thing right this moment is listening to Slayer when I'm pushing iron at the gym. Did you see Rave Dubin's Jubilee episode? The comments took me out. I don't watch Jubilee because I think it fucking sucks. But I'm glad that, like, yeah, Rave Dubin is the guy who makes fun of Dave Rubin, right? Or like that's, at least that's the spoof on the name. And Dave Rubin is the gay Republican, one of the gay Republican podcaster guy. I wish Liberty Spikes were practical here. Too much rain. Yeah, too much rain. You need lots of Aquanet. Yeah. Lots of gel and hairspray to accomplish. I've never done Liberty Spikes, but I'm familiar with them and they're very cool. Thoughts about Blair White? I don't think she's a troll per se. I think she is a grifter. Oh, that's just what I called Dave Rubin. Oh, okay. I thought that there was maybe like a Twitter account of a guy who is called Rave Dubin. But anyway, so Dave Rubin actually, what did you say? He was on Jubilee. Oh my God, that's so funny actually. It's so funny how conservative gay people try to grift. Blair and Dave Rubin, 1 egg versus 20 frying pans. Yeah. So that they try to ingratiate themselves with the right, but the right doesn't actually. It's so funny because the right wing is always saying, oh my God, all these culture war issues, the left needs to stop and we need to focus on the economy or whatever. But then in practice, even when a gay or trans person is agreeing with them that gay and trans has gone too far and, oh, there are sensible gay and trans people who just want to talk about the economy. It's like, yeah, but the in reality, Republicans and right-wingers can't get over the fact that you're gay and trans. Like, for them, actually, the social issues are number one. They legitimately cannot get over themselves about it. They just can't, and they won't. If you're trans and you're trying to talk about literally anything else, they will only ever talk about the fact that you're trans. Have you ever seen America's Next Top Model? I don't like that kind of thing. Here's what I watch a lot of the time. Good Mythical Morning, sometimes on repeat. Although, okay, and this is weird. So recently, Stevie, who has been like a chief creative head at Mythical Entertainment for years, and she has, for the last 5 years or whatever, been like the voice behind the camera. She's like, okay, boys, today we're doing da-da-da-da-da, and they're sitting there on the camera listening to her, and she's behind the camera. She quit recently, all on good terms. She's just like, I've realized that my job currently is basically that I'm an administrator or an executive in this company, and what I want to be is a creator. So she decided to quit her job, and she's doing her own thing, and she's going to start creating. Beautiful. Love that for her. But for me, I do not want to watch anything with her as the voice anymore. So I used to be able to just binge a whole lot of older Good Mythical Morning videos, like even older ones where she wasn't the voice or whatever. But like now I don't want to. I don't want to listen to any of the previous few years of videos and have Stevie come in. I don't know why. I'm like, that's the end of an era. There's just something weird about it where I'm like, no, I don't want to do this. But anyway, Good Mythical Morning, Mythical Kitchen to a lesser extent. I haven't been watching it as much lately. I just recently caught up on Rick and Morty. Everything in Rick and Morty up to the end of season 8, whatever was available on Hulu. And I think that there's season 9 happening now, but I just watched, like, I believe to the end of season 8. And here's my commentary on that. The replacement for Morty is effectively perfect. Like, it might as well be the same dude, right? Because they replaced Justin Roiland because of his, was it allegations of sexual abuse? I don't fucking know. The Rick is not quite as perfect, but you get used to it. And then you're like, yeah, that's Rick Sanchez. Sure, whatever. Yeah, that's fine. So, but otherwise it's the same show. They write it the same way. You know, the only thing that changed is the voice actors. So I just caught up all the way on Rick and Morty. What else do I actually choose to watch? What do I actually choose to spend my time watching? I'll watch the Grumps usually, like not the Game Grumps typically. I'll watch the Grumps, their 10-minute Power Hour show. I go through phases. Like sometimes I'll watch a whole bunch of something and then I'll be like, "Oh, I'm done with this now." Like I spent, a good solid week listening to Steve Shives videos about Star Trek, even though I haven't even seen most of the Star Trek. Let's see. What else do I... That's kind of my vibe. Is like... Or, I'll go back and rewatch A Night of the Seven Kingdoms. Or... Yeah, I'm not great about watching new stuff. That's kind of where I'm at right now. I mostly experience Game Grumps through compilations. That's a good way to do it. Yeah. I watch a wrestling podcast, and when the voice behind the camera, Sophie, left, it just wasn't the same. Yeah, but not... it's not like I prefer the old stuff to the new stuff. It's actually the opposite way around. Where I'm like, no, I prefer the new setup. And for some reason, it feels weird to listen to the old stuff with Stevie still voiceovering. I don't know. It's quite interesting. And they're trying to figure out their rhythm. Basically, they're just rotating between different producers behind the camera, depending on, I guess, like, whose idea it was. Like, they recently on Good Mythical Morning did an episode that was kind of based on Heated Rivalry. Or they've started this new hockey-based mini game that they play together. And there was like a whole bunch of Heated Rivalry references, and the person behind the camera is a big fan of Heated Rivalry, so they've just like been rotating different hosts basically, and that's been quite pleasant, and I enjoy it. Love Game Grumps and 10-minute Power Hour. I love it when Forrest references the Game Grumps too, because I'm like, okay, there's obviously a reason why I like this guy. He's got some of the same characteristics that my partner has, and I'm like, oh, that's why we're friends. I've seen tons of clips of the Jubilee episode referenced here, and it makes me feel ableist to look at Dave Rubin get destroyed so much. Oh no! Does he come across like he's developmentally disabled or something? What? Poor guy. Poor guy. How about Family Guy or Naruto? I used to watch a bunch of Family Guy. I haven't in a very long time. Of course, like when I was an edgy teenager or like my early 20s. And I was a huge fan of Naruto when I was a teenager, but I haven't actually watched it in a long time. My partner really likes anime. He's been really into it recently, at least. And so sometimes we'll sit and watch anime together. So I've seen a good amount of Frieren. I actually would like to go and watch it myself and pay more attention to it. So Frieren, my partner exposed me to Mashle, which is very fun. Mashle's very fun. I think those are the only ones. Oh, we watched like... He's been like, Leah, I'll show you like a couple episodes of an anime and then we don't finish watching it. There was one about like a guy who's like a secret agent and then he ends up with a daughter. I don't know. I don't remember any of the details of that one. We were like doing other things at the same time, but Dave Rubin comes across as dumber than a brick, and I don't know if that's developmentally disabled, but yeah, okay, that's understandable. I've been watching Star Trek where I can since 2020 or 21, and I'm still not finished with it all. Yeah. On Tuesdays, my friend Gayfesh, who I also have a podcast with, if you go to the YouTube channel, @Gayfesh, Gayfesh, and if you type... Somebody, will you do me the favor of typing !Gayfesh in the website chat? Spy X Family. It might be Spy X Family. But... oh my god, what was I in the middle of saying? Star Trek. We watch Star Trek on Tuesdays in one of my friend's Discord servers. So it'll be usually a smattering of episodes that Gayfesh chooses with like sometimes a common theme. We watch Starfleet Academy together. Right now on the podcast, we're also covering the J.J. Abrams Star Trek movies. The ones like Star Trek 2009... Star Trek Into Darkness, Star Trek Beyond. So those episodes are coming out. and we just watched Star Trek Beyond last night. I need to watch it again because I hated Star Trek Into Darkness so much that I was like primed to dislike the third movie, but the third movie is like fine and maybe actually good, but I was so annoyed going into it that I didn't have a good time. So I need to rewatch it again and be like, okay, I need to assess this movie in a way that's like, maybe I could accept that this is a good film. I did watch Wilfred, at least the first season of Wilfred. I don't know if there was more, but I did watch season 1 of Wilfred many, many years ago. I recommend Dr. Stone. I've heard of Dr. Stone. I used to really like American Dad as well. I would say I like American Dad more than Family Guy. Several times, Dave gets a look on his face like somebody Freaky Friday'd him with his younger self and he can't believe where he is. Oh, no. Oh, no. Do you watch sitcoms? Not really. I did watch Brooklyn Nine-Nine, so that was fun, and I would really like to get my partner into it, because it's so good, but yeah, so Brooklyn Nine-Nine, but otherwise I don't really watch a lot of sitcoms either. Witch Hat Atelier is the main anime currently airing new episodes that I can easily recommend. Nice. Nice. I'm not, like, looking for new shows right now, but that's good. That's good to know. I love when Forrest references dumb shit I love. Yeah, it's very fun. Oh boy. Well, guys, I was here for longer than I expected to be, and I'm in a much better mood than I was when we first started, so thank you very much for helping me with that. Let's hope that I don't immediately regress as soon as I get off of here. But listen, it's easy to be in a better mood when there's folks here who just are willing to chat with me about whatever I want to chat about. And y'all have been very active in the conversation, and that makes me feel good. So thank you for all of your support. Thank you for Billy and Lawrence and the one other person who donated today, whose name I cannot remember right now. I'm so sorry. Let me scroll. Actually, let me look for it, because it'll still be in my menu here. Oh my gosh, stop. Oh, it was somebody on the website chat. Okay, well, dang. Oops. But thank you, everybody, for hanging out, for joining, all that shit. Hope that you enjoyed hanging out. And so if you didn't see in the Discord, I am not streaming on Sundays pretty much the whole month because I'm covering Arden's producing job on Sundays. So, but all the next 3 weeks on Takis, I will either be producing or hosting. I'm going to be hosting with Jimmy on Thursdays, probably, for Calling It Now, and then we'll still stream on Wednesdays unless I'm feeling particularly tired or bad or whatever. But yeah. Oh, come here. Hey. Come here, baby. One last look. One last look. Oh, sorry. The bot doesn't work in the YouTube chat. I don't know why it stopped working, but if you want to find my Discord, it's linked in the description, and also there's a link on my website. If you go to luxander.net, it's at the top. You good girl. You baby. You are a baby. You good girl. She's very sweet, and she's my favorite. And we're going to get her a little boy kitten to beat up. I think that's what we're going to do. We're going to get you a buddy. Do you have somebody to beat up on? Yeah? Okay. Mwah. Okay. Goodbye, everybody. Much love. See you later. Ba-da-ba-ba-da.